Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 22nd September 2016. The first articles are related to the Kaveri dispute. Now, remember this statement. Judicial intervention often resolves the questions that the executive feels too sensitive to handle. Now, interstate river water disputes is one such a sensitive issue for the union government to handle because it has a huge political cost for the party in power at the center. So, in these circumstances, the judgments of the Supreme Court they provide for the necessary institutional mechanisms. From the start of the Kaveri dispute till date, if you observe, appointment of the tribunal and notification of the tribunal's judgment, that is tribunal's award, and even today, establishment of the Kaveri Management Board, everything has happened at the insistence of the Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court has clearly stated that within 4 months, Kaveri Management Board has to be established. Now, once the Kaveri Management Board gets established, a permanent system comes into place to solve this particular problem. And in the place of the Kaveri Management Board, another factor is there will be another committee in support of this, that is regulatory committee, which will be consisting of the irrigation engineers who will be expertised in this field, and also the agriculturalists who are having a knowledge about how much of the water is required, and so that a complete plan can be evolved during the distress seasons. So in this context, the Supreme Court action over here has to be welcomed. And above all, across all the river basins, the water is decreasing due to improper management of the rivers. So, besides improving the river management in India, people also shall shift towards less water intensive cropping. So then, the available water resources, the scarcely available resources can be efficiently used for. Now coming to the railway budget, let us know some history over here. In 1920, Eckworth Committee was appointed. It has given its report in 1924. It has recommended for separation of the railway budget from the general budget. Why? Because it said the railways have to be operated as a commercial entity, and government or of English government is investing in Indian railways, and it is the responsibility of the Indian railways to pay back the dividends to the investors. So even today, the commercial aspect of the railways did not change. And the second thing is, the railways, they earn a huge income for themselves. Now, if you take most of the other departments, they are mostly the spending departments. Railway is the department that earns and spends on its own self. And it is largest employer in India. It has more number of the employees compared to the Department of Defense. So in these circumstances, the railways budget has been separated. But today, the merger is being planned. What are the reasons? Now, one thing is, the railways profits are decreasing over a period of time. And also due to the populistic measures taken up by various railway ministers for their personal and party gain, it has pushed the railways into the corner, and it has made to take up many of the unviable projects. This is what is the Debeg-Debrai committee has been spoken about. It has railways has to shun these unviable projects as soon as possible. And today, the modernization of the railways has to be taken up at a faster pace. And if you take the last year economic survey, it has been clearly stated that the railways are going to be the growth engines of India. So in these circumstances, huge funds and investments are necessary. And in those, the support from the general budget is also expected to need to come for the railways. So obviously, when so much of the funds are flowing, more accountability has been asked by the government. Another thing is, the total share of the railways in the general budget, total budget of the country is very less now. And it has proportionally decreased over a period of time. So it means the significance which it had before, it no more exists. So in these circumstances, So the railway budget, separate presentation of a railway budget is seen as an anarchy. But what is the opposition view? So it is still a commercial entity as Eckworth Committee has described as. And Eckworth Committee, when it has created a separate railway budget, it has created through the legislative route. Why the merger has to happen through the executive route is the first question. And the second thing is, the railways need autonomy to function, and this autonomy is going to get compromised once it becomes the part of the general budget. And a thorough performance appraisal of the railways used to be made when the railway budget is presented. Now, the railway data is also gets obscured in the ocean of the general budget. And finally, Nitish Kumar, the former railway minister, he says that it is a first step towards the privatization of the railways. So these are the various issues we need to consider. Now, Putin tightens his grip. The parliamentary elections were held in Russia, and Putin's party, that is United Russia Party, it has won the 3/4 of the seats in Duma. Now, the other parties, that is United Liberal Democratic Party and Communist Party, these also have won the minor seats. These two have the same policy lineup as like the Putin party, so obviously we shall not see them as opposition. But the real opposition parties, they did not have their own existence. So the Yabloko and the Prulin party, these do not have any existence in this particular elections. So it means these are mostly said to be the capitalistic parties, the Parnas and Yabloko, I think. So, but they do not have any existence. Then why the voters are supporting the Putin? One thing is, the Putin is believed to be a strong leader because annexation of Crimea and foreign policy in Syria, it has got a huge mass support for the Putin back home. And the second thing is, the Putin, there is no alternative leadership to the Putin in the Russia. And the opposition votes have been split between various political parties. So these are the reasons which are said to be the factors for the success of Putin in elections. But however, the economic sanctions imposed by the European Union and the falling oil prices, because oil economy is the largest revenue generator for the Russia, and followed by the defense exports. So in those circumstances, these two are the looming dangers for the Russian economy, which the Putin has to guard against. Now coming to the economy on an autopilot mode, what this article talks about is this. Now the growth has to be stimulated. When the present NDA government has come into power, an economy that is growing and inflation that is receding, it was given to the hands of NDA. So now, this government, did it do it anything better? So what the author argues is, the growth stimulators can come from fiscal and monetary policy. At the level of the monetary policy, the RBI is fixated itself on inflation targeting. And at the level of the fiscal policy, the government has fixated itself with fiscal consolidation and stuck to the FRBM targets. So because of this, there is no leverage possible for the growth to be attained. And the second thing is, the public sector capital, is to be taken into consideration. And domestic capital versus foreign capital is taken into consideration. The government boasts itself that the foreign capital has increased. But however, domestic private investment, if it is observed, it is still stagnant. Now, at the same time, across the world, especially in Singapore, if Singapore economy is observed, it has been grown on the backgrounds of the state investment and the public sector taking the major role in the policy exercise. It is not through the free market economies. So in this context, India moving away from a planning process and dismantling the public institutions and public sector undertakings may not be the right step according to the author. And agriculture sector, which can bring in a huge change onto the rural front and also the poverty structure in India, is also being thoroughly neglected. So the government has to liberalize or keep its mind on the economy. That's what is the author's view over here. And coming to the Pakistan at UN General Assembly, the Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif at the UN General Assembly has raised the Kashmiri issue. He again tried to internationalize the Kashmiri matters. And according to him, Burhan Wani, a slain terrorist, is a national leader and an young leader who is striving for the self-determination of the Kashmir. So in these circumstances, it appears to be a self-goal for Nawaz Sharif. The reason is Mr. Burhan Wani was not preaching only for Kashmiri independence. He is talking about a caliphate based on the Islamic values. And he's also supporting the ISIS. So in these circumstances, that is going to be a self-goal to Mr. Nawaz Sharif himself. So these are the articles for today. Thank you very much.